Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and the HasLab Rankor project are two of the subjects we are going to discuss today on a Geek Week in Review, episode 23.
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review. My name is Jacob, aka Jacob's Toys, joined of course by the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell, and of course Ryan Speaks Geek. If you are following us on podcast, then it's very much appreciated. Please do like, share, subscribe, download, all those things. And if you're watching on YouTube, then the same applies. Please like, share, subscribe, check the description below. Give these guys a follow as well if you don't so already. Gentlemen, week 23, and we've had quite a few things happen this week.
Awesome. Very exciting week.
It's been fun. I mean, I must admit, as a Spider-Man fan, and I know that we talk about Spider-Man all the time at the moment, it seems to be the main subject on everybody's conversation list. But I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so that trailer dropping earlier this week. Fan. I'm a Spider fan. Oh, look at the puns. They're coming out already. We have only just started, guys. We're already on fire. But no, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So this week in particular, and getting that trailer was a massive like high for me, as I'm sure as it was for you gents as well. But where are we going to go? Do you want to talk Spider-Man first, or should we talk Rankor, or should we talk?
We've got actually the most important thing that fans want to know.
Go on, Em.
Surely it's about our new intro.
Our new intro, yes. Week 23, and we have introduced a new introduction with our very own caricature cartoons.
And we've got a shout out to Doodle_Ant on Instagram for doing the artwork for us. Thank you very much, man. He's a follower of mine and now a follower of these guys as well, and the Geek Week in Review. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate the artwork. It's really awesome, dude. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They are really
the
cool.
Reflection in my head so well. Not many people can do that. But he got
when
it.
I saw it, I was like, Ryan's head reflection sold. Like, I've already ordered 15 t-shirts of that head and a pencil case, a 90s style lunchbox, and of course a mobile phone cover.
Coming on like a loaded Zordon. It's all good.
I was just totally amazed that because it's the first piece of because he said it was fan art. It was the first piece of fan art that I've had where somebody's taken the time to actually get the false leg on the right side, and the pattern of my false leg is actually identical to that. So I was like, that is amazing that he's taken that much detail from a video.
That is really cool. That really is cool. I just love the way that he obviously as well just kind of focused on 3 different brands that we talk about the most, Transformers, Star Wars, and of course Marvel. It was just really cool. It was really cool to see, and obviously we're going to use it in our videos and whatnot. And it'll be all over the place. You're going to see these things. They are brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love mine I love yours as much as mine. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so that's where our new intro came from. That's of course where the artwork came from. So I will pop his details in the description below. Make sure you jump over there and give him a follow and support his artwork as well. So where are we going to go? We're going to go Star Wars. We're going to go Marvel. We're going to go something completely different.
Should we go for the other news first, like your Star Wars and your other stuff, and then we'll have the main focus of the day on Spider-Man? It's going to take a while to chat about.
Yeah. All right. Let's kick it off then. Let's kick it off with the HasLab Rankor. So obviously, Hasbro introduced the HasLab project, which was of course the Rankor. And historically, HasLab projects, for anybody that's listening that doesn't know, is essentially a crowd-funded platform where they give us something big and beefy that we wouldn't ordinarily get. More recently in the Marvel Legends line, we had the Sentinel, which was phenomenal. We had things like the Razor Crest, Sail Barge. We've had some brilliant ones out of Transformers as well, haven't we, Ryan? What was he called? Unicron, is it? Unicron, yeah.
The last voice last acting role of Orson Welles, for a little random information there. Educational show this is.
There you go. Don't tell me that our show doesn't teach you something. So, and of course, the Rankor being a huge creature in Star Wars mythology and the franchise of Star Wars, it's something that you would expect a lot of Star Wars fans and a lot of Black Series collectors would want on their shelves. I mean, I know I, for one, when they kind of first teased that, was like, well, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, but it seems to have really, I don't know, gone down like Boba Fett in the pit, really, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, it's
I appreciate the in universe.
I tried to
down
think.
the toilet. It's good. It's nice.
I totally forgot Sarlacc pit as well. I forgot what it was. It was in the pit. So, what are your thoughts, though, gents? I got mine.
the fact that they
Rankor I need.
He's got it. He's got it in hand.
This is it.
Is that
Speak
that's a 3¾ inch line one, right?
This is actually the vintage one. So I mean, they got it right back in the 80s. I mean, this is
that still holds up. That still holds
it
up.
does. But this is the thing. So the Rankor's really hard to mess up. So we got this obviously vintage one. Then we had a Power of the Force one that did actually look a bit odd, but still really cool. Then they've done one for the vintage collection, and obviously a Black Series one's going to be massive, and the scale of it is impressive. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The price point doesn't match the figure, I don't think. And that's a big problem from the off-go. So before they'd even done the stretch goals, you kind of feel like the price was so big that people did it and on the hope that the stretch goals were actually going to make the cost worth it. And I think they've done these stretch goals and people were like, do you know what? That's not actually worth it. And then that's why the numbers have gone down.
They put the wrong figures in the stretch goals. Let's be honest.
Yeah. That's
if we'd have got the Rankor keeper and maybe as you should call Ula, if we'd have got Ula and the Rankor keeper, I think it would have been a different story. The fact that they've announced that they're giving us the Jedi Luke, which we've already had 3 of.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really need another one? Even if it's on the fancy card back with a coin, do we need another one?
And it does look good. I'm going to give them that. It's a nice looking Luke, but like you said, we've already had X amount of them.
Do you not think that same Luke is going to be coming in another year just on the Mandalorian box?
Yeah. Yes.
You instantly hit another nail on the head about the box. Now, the interesting about the card variants is I don't get. I mean, I'm not a Black Series collector. We've been through this, the 8 to 6 inch, whichever one I try and make up every time we talk about it. And since they refuse to do Yaddle, I'm just not getting involved. But got it in early.
Give this man a 12-inch Yaddle.
Exactly, and then we'll talk. Then that's how you get me. That's how you get Ryan Speaks Geek sponsoring the Black Series. But a lot of the appeal for Black Series is it's a collector's line. We can all appreciate that. So what they've done is this really good idea. They've got the figures, they're a certain scale. They do kind of crowd favorites, and then they have this really brilliant box design. So that when you put them all up on a shelf, so even if you don't unbox your figures, if you put them all on a shelf, they look uniform and pristine and awesome. And then when they do these card variants, I get the anniversary thing of like they're going through all the different figure lines and doing like the Clone Wars packaging, the Power of the Force packaging. They missed a trick not doing Super Muscle Luke on the Power of the Force 2 card. But the problem is these variants, I don't think are actually enough. I don't think people are as bothered about these sort of pretend to be vintage collection, bigger size card backs. I think people have got so used to a nice uniform box things. That's half the appeal, is that these things are a very uniform series. There is very little in the way of variation. And that's
it's funny actually, because Black Series, even though I'm not a huge Black Series collector, I mean, I've always kind of dabbled, but Black Series is one of the reasons why I justify being an out-of-box collector, because if you think of the variations in Black Series boxes, if you were to collect everything that they had released, you couldn't display it as a whole unit because of the variation in a different, what was it, the orange line, the blue line, and then obviously the picture card boxes that Ryan's talking about, and then obviously now the vintage card backs. And my opinion is that they're not going to release everything at once. So you will always end up with something in one box that is supposed to be part of another universe because of the nature of production. So yeah, I do agree with you on that. Price point on the Rankor, I've kind of got it in my head that the Hasbro HasLabs are always going to be around that price. So if I know that one's coming, I'm going to be expecting the kind of $250 to $399 kind of mark. That's where it's going to hit. But I think it's the tiers. I really do. I think the biggest one for me was the card backdrop. That was a tier when they announced the tier, and it was basically like a handful of bones and a big bit of cardboard. I just felt really bad, and I wasn't even involved in it, but I was just kind of like, but I saw somebody, and I can't, if it was you that commented this, I let me know and I'll give you credit for it. But somebody commented and they were like, why are all the production shots using a 3D diorama, but yet they're offering us a bit of card as the tier? Why are they not using that bit of card to do the shots in? And I was like, that's a really good point. Like,
because the cards.
The other interesting point about those bones is, So a lot of people are complaining that Ola isn't one of the isn't one of the tiers, the stretch goals.
Yeah,
And
she's in there.
The insult to injury is that you can get her skull.
Yeah.
It's even got the headband that she's wearing,
Yeah.
so you can get the skull.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you know what, you can have 1/10 of a figure. We'll give you that.
You can have her skull.
It's a build an Ula. The next one's gonna have her skin and then the arm bones and then the.
But I just think
the fact that it's not even electronic, it doesn't make noise. They could have done that. They could have easily given it some electronics to make noise or something. I think,
or an electronic bass, just
something
bass that makes the noise and has a couple of lights in it or something. I don't know.
Just something. And I mean, like, I remember as a kid, like the Rankor in movies was one of the first kind of big monsters that I really kind of got behind, if that makes sense. So you had your Godzillas and your King Kongs and stuff like that. And I just remember seeing it in Star Wars and just thinking how cool it was.
Yeah.
And as a kid, wanting to have the Rankor figure that you're holding. I never actually had that one, so I'm a little bit jealous. Might be around a little bit later. But I had the Jabba Palace. You remember that it came on the little base with the kind of the gates that flipped around and stuff. So this would have hit right in the. Yes, yeah. Look at me just playing with his toys, like. But I would have just it would have hit me in the nostalgia. But there was something even about the kind of unfinished production shots where it was just grey for so like we've literally only just seen what it looks like coloured, and I was kind of like, I don't like that. That to me was just a massive flag. Like you wouldn't go out and buy a holiday if all they had of the hotel was the foundations. Like, oh yeah, look, this is where you're going to go on holiday, but look at these nice foundations. Your room's going to be there. Like it's so you would, and I know it's a different price point, but that's the metaphor I'm using. So. Yeah, and
one of the things we're kind of thinking about the whole HasLab thing as a whole now, we've had obviously the Sentinel knee issue.
Yep.
Then we've had obviously we've had this Rankor, which has just had the worst tears on the planet. Galactus, I've got some of the tears for that. Come on, the final face panel as one of the final tears.
The Doom, yeah.
Then the fact that they did the Ghostbusters backpack without the wand and didn't tell anyone until already placed their orders. And
Don't forget to get your wand. We're gonna give you a hose.
We'll give you a pipe to put it in, but no wand.
Giving you a power cord for a PS5.
And that their tears were like some stickers to put on it to make it look slimed. It's like, come on, when are people gonna wake up and realize that they're just? I love Hasbro, but come on, I think that creator a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Sentinel, mine didn't have any knee issues, so I was either very fortunate or I don't know, but I didn't see it wobbles like it kind of if it's top heavy. So if I put it like any of my figures, if I put them in the wrong position, it will lean forward or lean back. So, but I don't have the knee issue that I saw everywhere. But in Marvel's defense, I think the Marvel HasLab projects have been top tier. Like they've been like worth the money, if that makes sense. If there was something that you were interested in and you wanted to invest, you were going to get your value. I think for the Ghostbusters backpack, it looks phenomenal, but the fact that they're giving you a hose, like you say, right, it's like giving you a PS5 controller cable, but you have to go and buy the controller. It's like no one can play with that. Like you cannot put that on your back and like flap a hose around. Like it doesn't work. Like it's not like that was even part of the film, like there was a part. So, but the Star Wars ones, I'm really surprised because the Razor Crest really looked good. Like the Razor Crest was like a good HasLab project. Like
even the sail barge worked.
The sail barge, yeah. But I just think that it was kind of up here, and then with this one, they've kind of like really dropped. Like those tiers.
This is the first 6-inch one as well. Everything else they've done so far for HasLab for Star Wars have been for the 3/4 inch line. This is their first trip into 6-inch, and
it's just I think and I can't like me personally, I can't make a kind of an authoritative position on comment on it because I've not backed it. It's not saying I'm backing, but as an observation, the real giveaway for me that this isn't working was that when they announced all these reward tiers, they announced the painted finished product. the backers went down. Like that's
Yeah, didn't stall. They didn't stay where they were. They went
no,
down and significantly down as well. Enough to note.
yeah.
You know, I mean, Retro
Like,
Blasting didn't hang about putting out a shade video about the.
well, a lot of places did. A lot of websites and
Can't blame
Facebook
them.
groups and that covered. Like you mentioned the Galactus, Sorrell. Like obviously the tiers on Galactus, it didn't jump after the tiers were announced as much as I think people expected. It was a very trickle right up until the end, and then it just skyrocketed. And I think a lot of that's the fear of missing out, but that's a whole nother video. But it didn't, at least it didn't drop. Whereas with this, it's actually gone backwards, which is people have looked at it and gone, you know what? Not enough.
Because we know we're getting that Luke is going to be out again. We've already had him twice in the past few years, and we're going to get him again on a Mandalorian card back or Mandalorian box. Salacious Crumb is already available as a part of the Creatures pack that dropped on Disney Store on the Life Day last week. You could pre-order it in America as a part of the Galaxy's Edge Creature pack, and it's the same figure. It's already out, and you're going to have that in hand before you get the Rancor. And that's one of the tiers for the Rancor. You can already get Gamorrean Guard. They're all.
And if you really want some bones, they even did
you can
actually. Well, even if you didn't want to do that, Star Wars did some like kind of thing with the science thing, where like they do the little science labs, create a lab, whatever. They actually did a series of little standard boxes that you had to chisel out the skeletons of a Wampa head, Tauntaun head, Jabba head, and stuff like that. So if you really wanted to get bones, it's not that hard for Star Wars. That's a weird sentence. But you really want to get your bones.
What I would say is that this Rancor project has proved one thing for Hasbro HasLab projects, if you ask me. And if anyone in marketing and design development were paying attention, I think this is what I would take from it if I was in that department. And that's that people are backing these things not because of what the project is, but because of what the tiers are. People are jumping on board of these because of the promise of getting something that you won't ordinarily get. And I think that's why Galactus sold as quickly as it did towards the end, because these figures that they were releasing with it, they've openly said you will not get on single releases, or a couple of them you'll get 5 years down the line. And I think the Rancor, less people looked at it and went, yes, I want the Rancor, than people looked at it and went, I want what the Rancor's coming with, because it's going to have this character, this character, this character. So I think, I think that's the lesson to be taken from it, is that the tiers need to be almost as well thought out as the project itself. They're not an additional bonus; they are a make or break. That's my lecture on HasLab. But I'm a massive fan. I've got the Sentinel, and the Sentinel is superb. And all the tiers that came with it, I am 100% happy with what I got from that purchase. There wasn't one that kind of didn't, that I kind of went, oh, that's a bit rubbish, I'll put that aside. Like every single one hit the mark, and it made me feel like what I was getting was worth the money that it cost. That's why I think the tiers are important.
Because about the Star Saber, because like I've not really heard anything about the HasLab Star Saber, the Transformers one, Victory Saber.
But they've also got a couple more in the works, haven't they? They've got the G.I. Joe one, the what's it, the aeroplane. Yeah. Now I'm not a retro G.I. Joe collector, but if I was, that's a pretty awesome thing to have. I think that will do well, but I think the reason why I think it will do well is because, again, the additional extras are the things that are thought out. The extra fins so that you can use all the stickers, the flight stands that you can have it in, they're well thought out additional bonuses. So I think that one will do really well.
There we go. Got funded. And that again, but you are right. The stretch goal. I mean, one was a stand, which was pretty lame, but everything else that they did for the Star Saber one was the thing that people wanted. It was stuff you weren't going to get anywhere else, and it was related to that product, really exclusively related to that product. So, right.
One thing I will say as well is that they've all got funded. Like, I can't remember the last time.
Cookie Monster was the last one, I think.
Cookie Monster, but I don't think any haven't.
Cookie Monster? I'm not joking. That was a live action one. There was a life-size Cookie Monster, and that was the first one that didn't get funded, if I remember correctly.
What? What are you talking about?
No, I'm being serious. Back in the very early days of HasLab, when we're talking about sale barge times, there was a sort of full size Cookie Monster. Almost
I am on
like,
this.
Like, don't get me wrong, Sesame Street is definitely not one of my brands that I collect.
HasLab Cookie Monster.
Well, you heard it. I heard it here first. I never thought.
Why
I'd say
is
that.
this a thing? Why
I
Oh,
did not know.
It didn't.
I
It
did
just
not
didn't do
know.
well. It didn't succeed. It didn't get funded.
It got less than They wanted 3,000 backers. It got less than 650 backers.
Yeah, but how many people
For
have
a
got space
Cookie
for a
Monster.
life-size Cookie
Why
Monster in
would
their
you
house?
want that?
To be fair, you're saying that, but then you've got like the 6 foot long bloody sail barge, or the 2.5 foot Sentinel, or
Yeah. Oh
people
wow.
want something, they'll find room for it.
Wow. I did not know.
Me want Cookie. HasLab's Dream Cookie Monster. Me want Cookie is the actual name of the damn
I
project.
tell you when I would have got that is if I won
Sorrell,
the lottery and just wanted to spend money. I'd be like, life-size Cookie Monster, I'll take 3.
Sorrell, I'm pulling that sound clip out and linking that to your contact now. Like, just me want Cookie. Like,
Me
just
want Cookie.
life-size Cookie. Yeah. Wow. I did not know that. But I'm not even ashamed that I didn't know that. I just that's something I didn't even know
I'm more
existed.
ashamed that I did know it. But,
That's yeah. Were you one of the backers, Ryan? Let's be honest.
no, I was 6 of the backers. No,
You were going to repaint them for other characters in Sesame Street.
Rookie Monster.
Yeah.
Looky Monster, all of them.
Other
Oh,
toy news
brilliant.
that we got this week. SH Figure Arts, Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian. We knew it were coming. But yeah,
it's coming.
they've got theirs version of Luke out now as well. Looks pretty good.
Yep. Yep.
Not gonna lie, looks all right. Then obviously Gotham Knights, the video game. We're going to be getting the McFarlane's figures of them. So another chance for them to re-release Nightwing yet again in a different color scheme.
Yep.
Red Hood
And
yet again. And Batgirl.
And
But Batgirl looks all right. She's got a different costume. I kind of like that Batgirl, to be honest.
That's
I
cool.
will be getting that. And we've got Robin.
We're eventually going to get that blue Batman again. What was it like the what was the name of that one? I can't remember what it was called
Batman?
in the game. No, it's like the mask, like the. Do you know what I'm talking about in the
Dark
game?
Knight
And you
Returns.
kind of no in the game in the Gotham Knights game. And
detective mode.
That's it, detective mode.
Oh,
Yeah,
the one is
when he
all
goes-
blue. I've got
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I
had
from
it.
I got it from B&M when all the
did
Batman
you?
stuff started appearing. Yeah. All the Arkham stuff
Oh.
appeared in B&M for a little while, along with all the cartoon stuff.
I didn't know they did the Arkham stuff. That's cool. That is cool.
Yeah, I got the Detective Goth. I got the Detective Batman when he's in Detective Mode all blue, and I also got the Catwoman and Batman where they're all in white, and there's just like a dash of red.
Yes. Actually, I tell you,
the pencil art one, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah.
I tell you
that was
one
nice.
that I do remember. It was the Bruce Wayne box set where it had like Bruce Wayne and like 4 or 5 different costumes, and they were in there for something like £50. Like every B&M had like 2 of them that they couldn't shift, but there was like loads of them on eBay for like £250. Like, get this exclusive rare. It's like, come on, mate. Wait, if anyone could go into B&M,
managed to
like
get
you
that
can
Bat
see it.
Signal actually set that they had for the Batman animated one at B&M, and that did go for stupid amounts of money afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The animated line was nice. I like that. I did enjoy collecting that, but yeah.
And then there was one more thing to say about this week as well,
Go
which
on, Em.
was I am stupidly jealous about this, and I'm very tempted to order and just say screw it. Big Bad Toy Store have got their own figure line coming out with Fresh
Yes.
Monkey. Did you see these?
Yeah.
The Naughty But Nice line.
Yes.
And there's like an evil Nutcracker, an evil Santa. There's an evil looking
Zombie.
and the elf. And then today they announced the Krampus ones as well. There's an evil Krampus and a red Krampus. And it's like,
Oh, I've not seen the Krampus, but I did
Krampus
see
looks
the
awesome.
they had like the elf, the Santa, and the Nutcracker, and they had like 2 or 3 versions. Didn't they? They had like a zombie version, a cyborg Santa. Like I was just like even just to, I know it sounds silly, but just to have a decent Santa action figure for photography. Can you imagine the amount of crossovers you could do with like a Father Christmas? Like,
well, I wanted
know.
one because it looks
X-Men
very
at the
much.
mansion, that'd be cool.
yeah,
It looks very much like the one they used to use in DC's old artwork. You know, in there's one like
Yes.
Santa handing over presents to Batman and stuff. It looks just like that.
yeah.
I was wanting it for that to do some like photos and stuff. But even the Nutcracker and stuff, I think you can have a lot of fun with these. Just like at Christmas time every year, pull them out.
Yeah.
Display. So I'm very tempted. I'm like this close to putting an order in.
I might have to have a look, actually work out the customs charges and delivery and all that kind of stuff, because they are cool. I'm not going to lie, they are cool.
I mean, if next year you guys should go on together or something, just get one parcel and split the charges.
Well, Ryan, why don't you come in with us and we'll get one each?
I'm all right. I don't know if I need an action figure of Father Christmas.
Mate,
have you seen
the? I just
say that once you've gone and seen the Krampus, mate. Go and look at the new Krampus they've just announced, and then tell them you don't want that figure.
Yep. Come on, mate. Who's
amazing?
Who's one of the first heroes in your life? Father Christmas. Don't tell me you collect superheroes and you could get the robot. You get the robot one. It would go the Transformers.
There's got to be a way of getting them in the UK, because surely I know they've got Big Bad Toy Stores. They're exclusive, but that's American. Surely they've got to have an English releaser.
Is that Cyborg Santa?
Yeah.
Yes, mate.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Cyborg Santa.
Why not?
I mean,
why not? Like, it makes sense. How else would he get around the world? Just got an army of robots. Like, that's rewriting the mythos right here. Like, just
because this looks more like the term of Christmas or something like that. Like,
yeah. Can you imagine like a NECA T2 in a photograph with like a cyborg Santa? That would be amazing.
I'll be back. Checking it twice.
It's just brilliant.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if they are going to come over here, it'll be one of them things that we'll probably see them like mid next year, ready in time for next Christmas. And obviously by then there'll be like a whole wave and a whole line. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we do seem on that subject, we do seem to be quite fortunate that there's not many things that don't make it over here now. Yeah. With the exception of gargoyles, there's not a huge amount of things that I can think of that haven't actually made it over here.
You reminded me of that. Don't remind me of that. It hurts too much.
Oh, I know. Me too.
I need that so bad.
It would have been a really nice one, but yeah, I don't know. It'll come. Well, it'll come.
Let me know if you want one. Because I'm going across in March. In March, I will be in America. I will be picking some up. So I mean, if you want one, let me know.
Oh, I mean, in all fairness, if you're going over there, hands down, I'll definitely get one. Like, without a doubt.
This week we put together a shopping list.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first thing I do, mate, is find out if my hotel will allow me to have parcels delivered, and then I just start ordering. And they're like, there's like a surcharge of like $2 a package. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Order. Make it rain. Raise of toys.
Yeah. Any other toy news? I think that was it.
That was literally it.
I don't know. Actually, they've done the official product releases for Transformers Blaster, Pipes, and Scamper. I mean, the Blaster, being my favorite Transformers character, he looks phenomenal. He looks so good. It's such a good blend of like G1 goodness and modern tooling. I'm so happy, and they got an eject that comes with him. It's like transparent blue, and you always win me over. It's transparent plastic. I'm like, looks awesome. And the Pipes is such a weird character, but I love it. And the Scamper, I'll finally have a complete team to go with my Metroplex after so many years.
I need to get something. I'll be back.
And he never returned.
I will return. You can talk among yourselves. It's nothing exciting.
I'm more excited about the Earthworm Jim cartoon news.
Yes, Earthworm Jim coming back will be quite fun, especially if they do a toy line to go with it and stuff. Because I had the Earthworm Jim toys as a kid.
Yeah, it was a good toy line actually. It even had like some variants with like very collectible. But the cartoon I used to love because it was Dan. I can never say his name. Dan Castellaneta. The guy who voices Homer Simpson was the voice of Go Ruby. It was such a good cartoon. 2 seasons I think it ran for. But like, if they do it right, it could be awesome. I mean, the games are still really good, like on the Mega Drive.
Oh, the games, the games are brilliant. I think I had it on the Super Nintendo, maybe. I want to say.
Yeah, because they did it on the Super Nintendo, Sega, and I even think they did it on maybe the Atari Jaguar. That console that everyone talks about still. It worked really well. But yeah, I'm looking. I was
trying to find my Transformers, but I couldn't find them in the huddle over there. So never mind.
Your Beast Wars?
The Beast Wars ones, yeah.
Oh, God, I'm so jealous. I love Beast Wars. I missed that line.
I'm really gutted though because I cracked mine open for figure reviews and stuff, and what's the T-Rex called? Completely forgot.
Megatron.
It's Megatron, isn't it? Yeah.
But you've got Megatron's the T-Rex, then you've got Dinobot that's a Velociraptor. But
Yeah, no,
did
you got
get the retro ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so that'd be Megatron.
he's got like a water squirting feature in his mouth, and so I filled it up to play with my son because he knew it as a water feature, and it didn't work.
Oh.
Yeah, I was highly disappointed. You ever want to see disappointment in a 2-year-old's face, telling me his T-Rex spits water and then not be able to perform? It was just
Test
like,
first. Always test
I was
first.
like, yeah. I was like, oh, sorry. So I just kind of flicked some water. I was like, oh, look, it's working. but no, it's a really cool figure. So, all right. So that is it for toy news, isn't it? That about is it for toy news.
Yeah.
The only other thing I've got to say, look, did you see my little bust that I got?
Yeah, saw that.
That is really cool. Yeah, I got it 3D printed. And yeah, I just spray painted it silver. I'm not finished with it yet, but it's really cool. It's really cool.
That.
Yeah, it's cool. You can pick them up. Check out my Instagram. I've linked up IB 3D Customs, I think he's called. But yeah, I'll put his link in the description as well. But yeah, have a look.
Cool. Before we go on to Spider-Man, I did go to the London Film and Comic Con this weekend, just gone.
Cool.
Interesting one, really, because it was meant to be on earlier in the year, and then obviously with the COVID stuff, it all got closed down and moved. So it was on. It was interesting because it was a lot smaller. I'd probably say at a stretch it was half the size, maybe probably smaller. But they had some good guests there though. I got a wave from George Takei. Walking past the booth, I still took up pictures, and I was like, "Hello."
Yeah. You just say, "Oh my."
Yeah,
oh my.
Hello. You are not here to see me in Star Trek.
Well, he's in Hit Monkey, isn't he? That's what he's one of the voices in Hit Monkey. So
my favorite thing is, and these main, they have the little list of what they're in, like what they're famous for, like it says like here and stuff like that. You know, what they're famous for and stuff like that. It was like Star Trek, and the next big thing he had was Futurama. And I was like, I love that you've put Futurama as your next like main
that's
thing.
Cool. He's in so many things. I loved him in Heroes. I'm not gonna lie.
This was my purchase. Now, can anyone tell me what these are?
Did you steal that out of the toilet? What is that? Look like? It looks like you pulled off a bit of the toilet, like the toilet wall. Oh, are they bases? Are they like figure stands?
These are the original 1981 Star Wars vintage Empire Strikes Back ones that connect.
Oh,
wow! In all sorts of ways, and they've got these little bits here, so you can print off your own backgrounds and backdrops, and you can make all sorts of combinations. I've been after these. I'm not even joking. For probably about 20 years.
That's awesome.
And there was a guy who had them there. A lovely Welsh bloke. Just was like, it's £40, but if you give me 30, I tell you what, you can walk out here, cash in my hand. I won't even look. I was like, all right, done. I'll have that. So yeah, that was my one purchase. There was actually so little in the way of like what I would normally go for, that my main purchase was something for stuff I already owned to stand on.
You know what? I said the same about MCM a few weeks back, and it's obviously because of COVID and stuff. I think the bigger conventions, the smaller ones, the more local ones, and the smaller ones tend to be doing very well. But I think the bigger ones, where the big draw is obviously all the stands and all the guests and everything like that, seem to really be suffering. And I walked away from MCM without buying a single thing, which is the first time ever. Like I've always bought something, but I walked away without buying a single thing. So I kind of get where you're coming from. Which is a shame, but I'm sure it'll get back to it. It'll get back to it. It's
Did you see that the original owners and runners of MCM, the group MCM Comic Cons, have reformed and made a new group? I can't remember. I'm trying to think of. I was trying to Google it then right quick. Basically, they announced earlier in the year that they've dropped a bunch of the Comic Cons, haven't they? They know they're just going to do London and Birmingham. I think are the two now main ones. That's it. They used to do Manchester, Edinburgh. And it's because the original owners of MCM have basically snapped up those dates for those areas. So like Manchester, Edinburgh, and a bunch of others are going to be run by the old owners of MCM, basically under a new name. Cool. So there is some new content coming up. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's about. But I was gutted when they announced that the MCM. Yeah, I mean, I was gutted when they said that MCM Manchester wasn't going to be on, because that's obviously the nearest biggest one for me is Manchester. And it was gutting when they said they were bringing that back. So it'd be nice to have them back in the area.
It's, you can never have enough conventions, I don't think, like especially the bigger ones. It's good to have the variety, So
admittedly, I love the smaller ones because you tend to get better items. I find bigger conventions, the good items get snapped up quick. And it is just thousands of people. It can be very intimidating. Whereas, as daft as it sounds, having like 200 stalls in a little gymnasium in some school, and they call it the local, like around here they call them the Unleashed Comic Cons. We've got like Leeds Unleashed, Pontefract Unleashed, Castleford Unleashed, all these random little towns get a convention now. I go to them all because the convention scene around here is awesome for the smaller cons.
I see the big ones
I get
much
some of the
more.
Best items.
The big ones are much more kind of days out. So they're kind of like, you're going to see anyone famous. You're going to look at the cosplay. You're going to kind of go to the big stalls and the big companies and stuff. Whereas I see the smaller ones much more as like shopping trips and just kind of like, I'm on a hunt for an item and hopefully I'll come across this sort of thing. So, but I'm glad that the convention scene didn't get destroyed by COVID and everything. I'm glad that all these companies are still able to go strong and sort of keep it going. So I'm excited to see what sort of 2022 brings.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if you guys know, I used to host a couple of them with like some other like local YouTubers and stuff in our local area, like at Sheffield Arena and stuff. I used to do the Yorkshire Cosplay Con event, and I was like their stagehand. And it's been gutting not being able to do that, because that's one of my highlights of my year is getting on that stage and being an idiot for 2 days straight. I love it, and I miss it so much. So I can't wait for the convention scene to come back properly.
No, good.
Can we start our own one? The Geek Week Con.
Mate, I looked into starting one. I'm not gonna lie. I've still got it.
Goes into it.
Oh, yeah, we did actually talk about it, didn't we?
I did talk to you about it, didn't I? But I had a lot of stuff on paper, but there what?
You could do. I mean, you did remember BWE.
Yeah, mate. I know what I'm doing, but I looked into it and I had a lot of stuff on paper, but then I don't know. It just looked like too much work at the time for me, and I needed somebody else to. But I don't know. Maybe in the future. I don't know. Watch this space. And if I do, I know a stagehand. I'll be asking to come down. So, cool. All right, let's get on to the big news of the week. Let's get on to the big news of the week. So a certain trailer dropped. Now, I have never seen hype for a trailer like I saw for this. Like, I even shared on my Instagram, and the original credit, I can't remember where it came from, but there was a picture going around the internet of all the times in the world that this trailer was going to be launched. And I shared it on Instagram. Yeah. And I just shared it almost as a bit of a tongue in cheek, because I knew it was going to be about 1:30 a.m. over here in the UK. And I kind of shared it as a little bit tongue in cheek, and people were like sharing it and commenting on it as if like I just kind of showed him like the kind of lineup for like a festival or something. I was like, this is mad. Like, this is actually crazy. And I did stay up. I'm not going to lie. I stayed up to watch it. I was kind of like, I knew that by the time I woke up in the morning, there'd be so many theories and breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. And I'm guilty. I did one on my own. I had to. Like, I couldn't not. I had too many thoughts. But I was like, I have to watch it when it comes out, sort of thing. And I watched it maybe about a minute after it launched.
I planned on staying up. I was in this chair. I was sat here, coffee in hand, and then all of a sudden, I must have just gone and died. And I woke up at 5:30 a.m. still in the chair.
Brilliant.
Coffee still sizzling away in the background. Like, I have missed the trailer launch. Like, what
Brilliant.
happened there?
I went a different approach. I went to bed.
Like a rational
I had a really good night's sleep, and when I got up for work the next morning, I sat down and watched it. And the good thing is, I didn't know anything anyone else didn't know because I hadn't watched it yet, so it was all right. I did okay. Yeah. I felt so rested. I watched it really well rested.
So, initial thoughts before we get into the details of it, right? Initial thoughts of the trailer, like from kind of like actually bag of dog rubbish, right all the way up to like the best thing ever. Where would you put yourself? What did you think?
It was okay. I don't think it was the most mind-blowing trailer of all time.
Yeah,
I'd say about 7.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, I was really excited, and kind of one of the reasons I wouldn't do like trailer reactions, because it would have just been me going, ooh, ooh, ooh. So,
And that's now your soundbite.
yeah. But with that said, I think I really hope this isn't foreshadowing the film, because I think the hype around the trailer overshadowed what the trailer was.
It's been my concern since probably the first trailer, and the tidal wave of theories and everything came out, and I think that it got accelerated when you had the post-credit scene to Venom Carnage. And my genuine concern is I'm deliberately making myself level-headed about it, because I just don't want to be disappointed. And the thing is, I do worry that you could have an incredible film, an amazing film, but because, like you said, the hype has been built up to such an unrealistic, out of proportion level, that it could be a disappointment to a lot of people, even though it will actually be, if you hadn't seen a trailer and you've just seen it for the first time, it could be one of the best Marvel films. But I feel like it might be crushed a bit under the weight of its own expectations. I don't know whether the marketing's been done. They've done too well with the marketing, and they've created this accidental monster that they now can't control.
Yeah,
I think honestly, I was one of the people that's been saying all along, I'm not sure if they're gonna be in it. That trailer for me, after seeing some things, and I think the other Spider-Men are in it. I'm not sure as to what capacity they're going to be a part of it. I don't think there's going to be the scene that everybody wants, which is all three Spider-Men fighting side by side. I think Tobey Maguire is going to be in it, but I don't think he's going to have a fighting role. I think he's just going to have a small part. I think Andrew Garfield is going to be the main side-by-side companion of Tom Holland, because they're of a similar age. I think it would make Tobey Maguire look too old now, and he's out of shape, and he doesn't look like he did back in the day, and he's too much of an older guy now. I think his role is in that scene that we see. I was speaking to Jacob with Dr. Octavius. I think that is the scene where Tobey Maguire walks in, and that's why he laughs, because he says, "I'm Peter Parker," and they all laugh. No, what's your real name? I think that's that. And you see Dr. Octavius sort of looking from one side, and his tail fins turn like that, and he's got like a shocked face on. I think that's when he sees Tobey Maguire again for the first time since their fight scene.
I'm gonna further add to your theory on that, because obviously you text me. It is, but you text me and sort of said like your theory about it, and that's for anyone that's kind of trying to catch up, the scene where they say, "Oh, what's your name?" and he's, "Oh, I know Octavius," and then they all kind of laugh and say, "What's your real name?" We're essentially saying they're two different scenes.
Yeah,
and I do completely agree with you, because even for the fact that if you actually look at his tentacles, they're in like the powered down mode. And never in the film, when Spider-Man's around, are they in that powered down. They're always at the thing. Whereas in that, they're powered down. So it's as if they're not, there's no threat. So if he was squared up against somebody that we had just seen him go toe to toe on the bridge with, surely there'd be a bit more. So that's my kind of, so I do agree with that one.
I'm going to throw out another cheeky little thought as well.
Yep.
I don't think that is the Otto Octavius from the Tobey Maguire films. I don't think it's the Green Goblin from them. I don't think it's the Electro, because the Electro is very different. I think it's just a nice nod that they've got those actors, but I don't think they're literally the ones from those films, because it's just infinite universes, isn't it? So
yeah,
I don't know if it's actually him from Spider-Man 2. I don't think it's Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah,
but Doctor Strange does say in the trailer, they have their moment fighting Spider-Man, they lose. These people were meant to die, sort of thing, more or less is what he's implying.
Yeah,
but why are they so different though? Because Electro's not blue. Doctor Octopus, even the claws for the tentacles on Doctor Octopus are different.
I think I think during the movie they're gonna get new upgrades. I think they're gonna go to Oscorp in our MCU. Yep. Likewise, we see a scene where Green Goblin looked completely different. When he's flying towards the camera on the glider, that looks like a completely different person. Everyone's just saying it looks like Dafoe with just goggles on. The actor looks completely different. It doesn't look anything like Dafoe.
I thought it was the Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I put that picture up on my Instagram. And the amount of like, go and have a look when you come off, the amount of comments on there. I literally just put that screen grab on there saying, in my opinion, this is William Dafoe in his kind of Mark II costume. And the amount of comments of people going, it's Ned. I got people on there saying that it looks like Tom Holland. It looks like Tom Holland. And if you look at it, it kind of does. And it's a Tom Holland that never became Spider-Man, and because of the multiverse. You got people that are saying that it's the new Goblin from the Amazing Spider, not Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah.
There's people saying it's the Harry from the Amazing Spider-Man. But the one thing I think people are forgetting is that there was concept art leaked on the internet way before the trailer of William Dafoe in that outfit with goggles. Like it was there. So no, see, my money would be on the fact that it's my money. But if you look at the concept art as well, and I can send it to you if you want to have a look, the armor is identical almost, like the knee pads and everything like that. So I do think it's William Dafoe, but is it the same William Dafoe that we see at the beginning in the Green Goblin, or is it another version?
Variant, yeah.
Or is it him with his kind of upgraded suit because the first one gets damaged? Is it, but the thing you got to remember is this is a trailer, so that could easily be like a stunt guy, or the visual effects haven't been done, or it might not even be a scene that we see in the final film. Remember the Hulk in Wakanda? Yeah. I'm talking on your theory of them not all fighting together. I kind of disagree with that. I do think we're going to see all three, only just because I don't. Okay, yeah, he isn't as in great shape as the others, but the Spider-Man would be CGI'd anyway. So all we need to do is kind of have his head on an unmasked version. But
maybe they'll digitally youth him.
Yeah, but when you see that Sandman, Electro, and Lizard kind of scene, that obviously the scene of Lizard getting kicked and mysteriously being punched in the air by nothing, that was leaked in a Brazilian trailer. That it makes sense, but the angles of so people say, but the angles of the other two characters, you've got the three villains, and then you've got one Spider-Man, and the angles of the one at the top and the bottom are literally dive into something else. So
it is a very much like the Civil War trailer that bit when you had, like people, the obviousness of like the giant man bit and stuff, like the people running at each other bit. You are right. It does line itself up to be a versus on 3 levels.
It's got to be something else, yeah. But it could essentially be anyone. It's not got to be 3 Spider-Men. No. But there obviously are a couple of slip-ups in the trailer as well. So, things that have been pointed out is that, visual scrubbing and stuff, what they do in trailers all the time, where they kind of take somebody out of a scene or they change the stuff. Spider-Man as a character, any one of those Spider-Men that we saw in the kind of fast-moving scenes could easily be scrubbed, could easily be kind of overlaid with a Tom Holland suit, so that we see Spider-Man, and without really breaking it out. I mean, there's a couple of theories online of people sort of saying that the visors, the eye visors aren't the same as his, and that's clearly a different Spider-Man because it's a different shape and that kind of stuff. But any of them could be scrubbed. And there is that scene as well where you kind of see what looks to be a floating arm that's not been scrubbed out as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think we will. I think we'll see him in that fight, but I don't think it's going to play a huge part in the film. I think it's going to be a very short scene in the film. Because also what's interesting is we've seen Sandman, Electro, and Lizard like fighting in there, but where's Green Goblin? Where's Otto Octavius? And where's the 6th member? So that's not a big final fight. It's going to be something. So that might be the only time we see the 3 Spider-Men fighting.
I think that whole thing of everyone's on about the Sinister Six and seeing them all line up together to fight Spider-Man. I don't think we'll ever see that, because I think Dr. Octavius is going to be on the side of the heroes for most of the movie.
Yeah, I think so.
From what I've seen on the trailer, it seems very much if he realizes, hang on, that's not Spider-Man, something else is going on here, and he seems to be maybe surrendered himself. Because how did they go from that scene to having him in a cage or what looks to be like a force field style cage?
Yeah, and there's also the scene of Electro fighting Dr. Octopus, where you see Electro blowing up the window and Dr. Octopus falling out of it. So it's who knows.
I think we're forgetting the most obvious thing here that no one is talking about.
What's that?
We know who's really punching the Lizard down below. It's Happy Hogan in an Iron Man suit. He took from
Bum.
we know what that is.
Bum. Bum.
Iron Happy coming in.
Yeah.
Kicking it. I mean,
that
I would love
scene.
to see. Joking aside, I joked about it, but actually, I would love to see Happy Hogan and Iron Man.
Happy Iron.
That scene with Happy Hogan and the look on his face in that car, I think that is his demise scene. I think that is the moment he dies. It looks too much like, oh my god, what's about to happen? Then big bomb time or something. I think he's gonna die.
They could put him in a coma, couldn't they?
Anyone that Spider-Man considers to be a father figure gets killed off, basically. He looks at Tony Stark. Tony Stark dies. He looked, obviously, his Uncle Ben died. He looks towards Happy Hogan now. Happy Hogan's gonna go. That's the way it's gonna go, I think.
No, I can't accept that.
I'm
not ready for this.
I'm calling it now. We are going to lose Aunt May and we are going to lose Happy Hogan.
Definitely. I can see
the
that.
pair of them are exiting this film because they're setting up a narrative between them two that just can't play out long term.
No.
So I because it can't. I just don't think it can. I think we're losing those two.
I don't think you really remembered Spider-Man's speech in What If about,
but Spider-Man, Sorrell makes a very good point, and Spider-Man is very much about the loss, and he's very motivated by the people that he can't save, and he does lose and stuff like that. And right now, going into this film, he's not lost anyone like recent, like okay, Iron Man and stuff. But we've played that out in the other films. Like there isn't somebody to push him forward, to motivate him forward.
We don't need the loss though, because we've already had so much loss. It's like, why does that just become the thing that Spider-Man has to lose? It becomes too predictable.
Tom Holland has already said on his press tour that this film will upset lifelong fans, not in a bad way, but in like emotional ways. So this
you're gonna cry.
Yeah, this is gonna be the most brutal film for Spider-Man they've ever made. So then there's that whole speech that William Dafoe gives in the trailer. That whole thing of what does he say when he sort of says about loss and kind of you can't get everything you want,
can't save them.
You can't save them all. I think that's because I think at that moment that is the bit where he's probably already killed Happy Hogan. I think it's Green Goblin that kills him because he's the one that's psychotic enough to do it. I think he's going to be the one that kills a lot of the people off. And then there's that moment where he's going to talk to Peter and like, you can't save them all, Peter.
Yeah,
I am Iron Man suit.
There's one theory that's flying around the internet as well that I don't believe is true, and that's where we saw that scene of Mary Jane falling down, and everyone's going, "Oh, Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man's going to save her, and it's going to come full circle, and he's going to make up for him dropping Gwen." No, come on, you are reaching at straws there. That the guy literally broke his girlfriend's back, but he saved some other guy's girlfriend from falling down as well, and that's going to be full circle. No, it's not. That just make him sadder. I think that would upset him more. Like I don't.
Last time when I think there's going to be something though to do with that scene, because obviously there's the bit where Andrew Garfield Spider-Man used webs and it failed, whereas Tom Holland's grabbing her by the hand. Yeah, I think that's gonna. I think Andrew Garfield's going to say something like, "There's going to be something about that."
Don't web her.
Yeah, basically, yeah. not as cheesy as that, but
I'm going to say something slightly controversial now.
That you don't like Spider-Man.
No, I love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, and I am really looking forward to this film. But it's a two-part disappointment to everyone who's listening. From Ryan. One, I am sort of pretty done with speculating now. I just want to see the film. I don't want any more teasers. I don't want any more trailers. And also, this is the bit I think is going to cause a lot of upset. I'm actually a little bit bored of almost desperately trying to connect everything all the time.
I agree.
I really enjoy the connectivity. Don't get me wrong. The whole multiverse thing. I grew up watching the 90s Marvel cartoons, which was the first in my head, like first sort of on-screen crossover universe type things. You had, in that episode of Spider-Man, you had the Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Silver Surfer, all of them in that one episode.
Yeah.
Secret Wars bit. So, but there's a point where you just kind of go, I just want to watch a film without having to go, oh, that's the shoe from blah blah blah, that's the clock from blah blah blah. That's got to be. And a guy comes in and goes, I'll have a coffee. Do you know who else asks for coffee? Iron Man. I watched Marvel, like the Eternals, the other day, and what I loved about the Eternals they mentioned about the snap in the Thanos bit, right? But the actual film itself, I know it's had mixed reviews. I really enjoyed it because it was just different. It was like a historical epic meets like Marvel-esque, but it didn't feel like a traditional superhero. And I didn't feel like I was watching the whole film going, "Oh, who's that? Who's that?" I mean, they talked about it. But they also talked about Batman and Star Wars. Weirdly, in it, as in like it was more casual conversation. It was less like that. Obviously, you had the standard post credits, which connects things, which I can live with. But I actually just really enjoyed that. I just watched it and wasn't every 5 seconds trying to think, is that from this one? Is that from this one? Is that from this one? I just watch something different.
I get what you mean. I think that, like I say, like it is getting to the point now where where the films are now beginning to struggle under their own weight of their history. That they're always trying to look back and then move forward, look back and move forward. Where I think at some point they do, like you say, need to kind of have a point where they go, right, that's done, let's move on. Which I think this new set of films is doing that. I think Spider-Man's going to close the door on some things that we've seen now. And then I think moving forward, like say the Eternals, there are all a lot of new characters coming in to take us forward.
I think Spider-Man will be the kind of pinnacle of it all, because they will, like Shang-Chi, obviously we had post-credit scene there and it linked in enough, but the rest of it was, there was little hints at stuff, but it wasn't, I enjoyed Shang-Chi for the same kind of reasons. I was like, what, this is, yes, there's enough linking, but it was standalone on its own. But I think the problem we've got is that the Spider-Man film holds the same kind of weight and expectation as like the Endgame, the Infinity War. Like it's because it's a pinnacle. It's kind of the peak of something that we never really thought we were going to get. Spider-Man in the MCU, even as much as kind of 10 years ago, was like a myth. Like it wasn't going to happen because this person owns this person, this owns this person. So we're kind of we've been building up and building up and building up. And I think when you tie that in with like sort of recent events and stuff as well, like Endgame was huge. It just blew the blockbusters away and stuff. Like it was massive. Between then and now, we've had lockdown and COVID. We've had a surge in TV shows where we've had a weekly injection of these shows that is all about linking stuff. And we'll watch this and you're looking for this next week, and that's tied to that film, and that's why this particular series is tied to this film, and this film. And so it's all these.
Sorry,
I was going to lead into that, but it's got all of those things, so that this is the first big film since all of that that's tied into everything before all of that, if that makes sense. And that's why people are going nuts. And everybody's trying to be that person that goes, I called it. Like everyone wants to be that person. And I just think that, there are so many opportunities for speculation that it was always going to be this big. There was always going to be people talking. Before we really kind of come away from Spider-Man Home, because Ryan totally just dampened that candle. No, I'm only joking. But before we do,
which is about being honest and true.
But no, I do completely agree with you, and I'm looking forward to the next phase of Marvel to see where it goes. But before we kind of really do move away from it, one thing I do want to pick up on is that the Spider-Man films, it's the names of the Spider-Man films, and I always found them quite bizarre, because obviously Homecoming made sense because it was kind of Spider-Man coming home to Marvel, wasn't it? It was like, here he is, he's coming home. But then when the next one had home in the title as well, I was kind of thrown a little bit, and I was kind of like, oh, it doesn't really make sense. But obviously it made sense because of what the story was about and what was happening to Spider-Man. I was like, okay, they're being clever with the title and that lot. So No Way Home is now, isn't it? Sorry, not No Way Home. I mean the one before. Far From Home made sense because of what was going on in that. So
it should be known as the Home trilogy.
Yeah, but it is. It's the Home trilogy, isn't it? But the title and the reference to home and everything like that made sense to what was going on in the films with Spider-Man and where he was on his journey. So I think the thing that a lot of theories are overlooking, and not a lot of people are actually talking about, is what does the title mean? Like, where does the title fit into it? Because there is, No Way Home is quite a definitive sentence.
Is this exit from the MCU?
Well, see, this is where I was going to go with it, right? And this is my final thought, I guess.
Tom Holland.
or not even a demise, but his move over to the Sony Spider-Verse that's being created over there. And then the whole No Way Home means that something happens in this film that means he can now go over there and stay over there. So there's no more crossing over. Yeah, does that make sense?
Mhm.
So we got the homecoming. Oh, here he comes. He's coming back to Marvel. He's here at Marvel, like, all that kind of stuff. The No Way Home almost means that there's no way back now. We're taking our ball back and we're going to go and play with him over that in that field. But it would also tie in really nicely with everything, because the way that the Sony kind of Spider-Verse, as they're calling it, is going to be really successful post these kind of, Venom, Morbius, all that kind of stuff. They need to have Spider-Man in it.
Yeah,
Spider-Man has to be in that universe for it to. They can only set these films up so much, but then they need Spider-Man in it. So my theory is that this. My theory is that this is going to see Spider-Man go back. That's my theory.
Can I just think? The way you phrased that has just made me think why I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh,
because yeah, I know. This is when the band breaks up now. I'm gonna Yoko Ono this stuff. Because of the Eternals post-credit scene, because that is all about being in the MCU. Black Knight, and then obviously Blade's voice.
Yeah,
Blade's in Morbius. Morbius has all the trailer stuff, and it's all Spider. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, the linking stuff, but the Spider-Man stuff in the background constantly, like the spray paint on the wall and stuff like that. And them so if they're going to be in the Sony verse, why did the Eternals sort of set up the Sony verse?
Yeah, but you got to look at where the can't think of the word now, but the licensing for these characters fall, and the only one that definitively falls into Sony's back pocket is Spider-Man and the various associated people. Whereas things like Blade, I'm pretty sure is Marvel.
Again now, yeah.
It's back in Marvel. Fantastic Four, X-Men. It was originally,
Fox, so it came with all the Fox stuff along with Fantastic Four, and they all came home together because it was a Fox presentation.
But the Wesley Snipes Blade, Wesley Snipes Blade was the first Marvel Studios film. Did you know that?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but they're all back now underneath that umbrella. So Black Knight and Blade, that's fine. They're in Marvel. Like all of those things are in Marvel. If Blade is in Morbius, we don't know he's in Morbius. There's just speculation.
Speculation, isn't it?
But at the moment, they're two very different entities. So my guess, if I was to put money on something, is that there's going to be something put in motion that puts Spider-Man back over there.
I think they're pursuing the Blade storylines of recent years, which is more to do with the hell aspect. So like your Ghost Rider, your Doctor Strange, Blade, they all kind of come together, didn't they, to sort of fight your sort of demons and underworldly Dark Avengers kind of stuff. I think that's where they're going to go with Blade rather than. I would love to see him fight Morbius. It would be amazing to see those square off. But I don't think we might not see that for a while yet. I think they might hold that off as like another big meeting kind of.
And the other thing that kind of strengthens that for me as well is that if you think back sort of 5-6 years in the MCU, there was always that kind of cloud of the MCU is great, but until you get the X-Men and Spider-Man in there, it's not the MCU. That makes sense. There was always that kind of thing with fans that, this is amazing, but at the moment it's more the Avengers CU as opposed to MCU. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know what, we've got Spider-Man, and Spider-Man was injected into the films. And this will be his 4th film under the kind of MCU banner. And now we know, obviously, they've got X-Men coming as well. They've Iron Man's gone. Captain America's gone. Like all these people that were in the original kind of MCU, Black Widow's gone. They've had their time in the spotlight. They're now gone. So nothing's saying that we have to keep Spider-Man around. Like Marvel could very much be going, you know what, we've done it. We've had him in the MCU. The story shows him going off somewhere else. And as far as the MCU are concerned, he's blipped off somewhere else. So now we focus on the new characters. Now we focus on the Shang-Chi's, the Blades, the Morbiuses, the Black Knights, the X-Men coming in. When the X-Men and the Fantastic Four finally come into the MCU, people are going to be like, Captain America and Spider-Man who? Like, they're going to be, and yes, it will be a shame to not have those characters meet each other, but only for the same reason that it'd be a shame not to see Logan and Deadpool together. Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be that fan cast, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's my theory. And if that comes
single
true, then you heard it here first. But that's where I think it's going. That is where I think it's going.
The one thing that nobody's talking about, Doctor Strange. We've kind of gone ever since we've had all the villains come up. No one's really talked about Doctor Strange's involvement in the whole film.
No.
That whole thing where no, it's not.
No.
And that whole thing of him, everyone thinks he's fighting Spider-Man. After rewatching Doctor Strange the other night, I don't think he is. I think that's him explaining the MCU multiverse idea the way that he was shown. You know when he's first introduced to the multiverse and he gets pushed out with astral projection, and then he gets taken on that mental psychedelic journey with her. I think that's him doing it to Peter Parker. And that whole thing about with the trains coming up, I think that's him saying, you're in the middle, this is the multiverse. You know what I mean? These are all the worlds. So I think that's just the way he's explaining it. And they've made it look like he's trying to stop Peter. I don't think he actually is. I think it's more of I think there is that scene where he tries to steal that box for whatever reason. But I think that there is the whole thing that we've seen where he jumps into the other world and things like that. I don't think that is like them changing worlds or anything. I just think that's them like him explaining the astral projection and the whole multiverse thing to Peter.
Yeah, what would be amazing, like what would get my massive fan pop, I'd massively mark out, is if at the end of the film, like the timeline splits and it's not just 2 Spider-Men we get all of them. We get Noir, we get Spider-Ham, like literally just tons of these different Spider-Men coming through, almost in the way that you said about the portals and you see them fighting. We just see clips and clips and clips, all these different Spider-Men fighting different villains, and then some kind of to close it all, and the MCU's left without any. And it's kind of, they're all gone. Like that to me would be the...
Except for Spider-Ham.
Except don't leave the MCU as Spider-Ham.
That whole thing at the end of towards the end of the trailer where it shows the big purple line in the sky and it's saying they're coming through. I think that genuinely is from I think a lot of people are expecting that to be the villains coming through. I don't think that is. I've got a feeling that that's towards the very end of the movie, and like you say, I've got a feeling that that's going to be the Venom appearance moment, and that's the moment the timeline splits in Loki, and all stuff's going to turn upside down for the end of that film. I think it's going to end on a massive upside down cliffhanger. Yeah, like just making you go, what just happened there?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. One other thing I've got to say that was pointed out was that, you know, Statue of Liberty, X-Men, like there's a massive nod there. And I even read a fan theory where they were going, "Oh my god, it's going to link into X1." It's a Statue of Liberty, mate. Like it's like, come on, it's going
to cut to Ian McKellen and Sabretooth. You'll be my only defense, Sabretooth.
Yeah, and then the Ghostbusters are in the front. Let's get her. Like it's but yeah, so I don't know. I'm excited. I am pleased that we've only got the matter of weeks and then it's out. And then all these speculations.
Much more. And the other thing is, like, it's turning into Columbo, isn't it? Every time it's like, just one more thing.
There are a lot of other TV spots as well popping up now as well. If you have a look, there's a lot of other little bits of film that are coming out as little kind of 20-second, 30-second TV spots with little bits of dialogue and
Hawkeye as a TV
and
spot.
science.
TV spot for Hawkeye the other day.
I meant TV spots for the
Spider-Man. I know, for Spider-Man.
Yeah. But Hawkeye. Sorry, Hawkeye looks good.
How's it going to link to Spider-Man? No,
Hawkeye. Basically, when Doctor Strange said, "No, I'm only joking." I think it looks cool. It looks like a lot of fun. Hawkeye looks like it's Clint Barton, Jeremy Renner, just down to a T. And I think it's just going to be a lot of fun with a lot of explosions and a lot of gags, and just like the comic books, it's going to just be a nice, enjoyable sort of 6-7 parts, whatever it is.
Totally on the money though about you did say they're going to really capitalize on the Christmasness of it, and the new trailer is just balls to the wall Christmas.
Just
got to
Christmas, and it's awesome. I'm genuinely excited. I mean, it's this week we're going to see, you know, we're so drowned in Spider-Man that no one's talking about we're seeing brand new Marvel content this week.
I know, and Hawkeye is one of my favorite characters. I'm so excited So excited.
When he did
They're-
that song on, was it Jimmy Kimmel show?
Oh
The
yeah.
piano. Yeah.
It's the what was it to the thinking out loud, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Da, da, da. Yeah, it was
I'm
wicked.
as super as they are.
Although again, I know I don't want to theorize. I don't want to talk about what's been said and stuff because there was a press meeting when Young Avengers was mentioned and certain people in the panel kind of looked at each other as in, oh shit, do they know? Like, you know, but I'm not going to theorize. But that's,
we know Young Avengers is coming. That's been
Young Avengers is coming.
Yeah, we know that. You can see they've been building that for years now.
Yeah, Young Avengers.
They've introduced Wiccan. They've introduced all of them.
Yeah,
Patriot has now been introduced more or less.
Yeah,
it's
they're
no
all
Fat
there.
Cars the series, but you know, whatever.
I think that Hawkeye is going to be the much needed comic release that we need at this time of year.
Are we all
they've got in the show?
The Avengers musical, yeah,
that's in the show, like that
Yeah.
they're going to watch, and it's like Captain America, like,
yeah.
that looks awesome.
Are we forgetting though that in that film, in that TV series, we're probably going to see a continuation from the Black Widow movie because obviously she's coming for them, or at least Renner.
Yep.
So
That's a good
US
point. That's
agent,
who he's fighting.
we might see more to do with that whole US agent, and I forgot her name already. The woman that came to US agent and said, "You ready to join a team?" and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That could all span out into
links together. Everything links together. Let's be honest. It all links. But
that's what the comics do, though, isn't it? They've got to do it. That's what the comics do.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, and I'm much as we're saying, Spider-Man has kind of really pushed that too far, but that is part of the success of the MCU. You know, that, you know, you look right back to Iron Man 1. What was one of the biggest pop moments of that film? It was when you saw Nick Fury at the end. Like, and it was like you knew something else was coming.
Or the half-constructed Captain America shield, which they just totally forgot happened for ages.
That you're just like, oh, look, I know that. I recognize that.
And then they just stopped talking about that one. What was he making? Because the shield was already there. What were they doing? I don't.
Hubcaps.
Hubcap.
Yeah.
My dad said this today. My dad made the great comment of he didn't realize that he would have to rewatch film from 20 years ago to get up to scratch on Marvel again. Which is true, isn't it? So obviously, if it does,
that's a weird
all the you got to go and rewatch all the old Spider-Man films because they're all relevant now.
You know what? I rewatched Spider-Man. I watched the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 recently anyway because I really enjoy them. They're two of my favorite Spider-Man films.
Oh no, my weakness, tiny knives.
Yeah, he's just such a good Spider-Man. But what was it? Spider-Man 3, I think, was on Netflix, and I watched that one, and I didn't hate it as much as I remembered hating it. Emo, I tell you what, Emo, or Bully Maguire, as he's more commonly known, is one of my favorite characters in that film. Like, I absolutely love him, and I don't know if it's just because I'm older now.
Left the geek week.
No, but going back and watching him now, I'm older. I'm just like, I'm digging this guy. Like, this guy's pretty funny. Like,
you know my feelings on Tobey Maguire.
I know, but don't get me wrong. Like, there were lots of parts of that scene, like the whole jazz club dance and the this is for you, all that. It's just cool cats, all that stuff. Just
all it was missing was the guy from the Far Show to be like, nice.
Yeah, but the whole kind of symbiote element, it really works because that's one thing that it made me realize that we've not seen it in Venom, is that Eddie Brock stays Eddie Brock the whole way through. He doesn't really change. He's just got the Venom symbiote. Whereas in the comic books, it did heighten the aggression and it did heighten the kind of characteristics. And that's why Bully Maguire became Bully Maguire, because all of a sudden he was this alpha male kind of, I'm going to wear it all black and just, hey doll, hey, this is for you. Like this. But
my hair's forward now.
But yeah, I'm going to brush my hair forward, and that means girls like me. but we don't see that in Venom, and I think that we were so hyped about getting a kind of real life Venom, is that we've not seen that transition in Eddie Brock, which is something that in the comic
Give
books
them
is quite
chance.
evident. Oh, it will happen, won't it? It will happen.
Yeah,
But
I'm
Topher Grace
really
is
happy with how that works.
Topher Grace's Venom is massively
With his fangs.
I do feel a bit sorry for him because like there are some bits of it that work really well. I will say in defense of Topher, because Topher Grace as the kind of the beginning bit of Eddie Brock where he does the doctored photo and stuff like that. I'm like, that was really sort of spot on and everything.
yeah.
A couple of missteps maybe when he was in Venom, but I don't think he was as awful as everyone made out. I mean, especially when you had some of the other things that were going on in that film. I don't think that was actually like some of the worst bits.
I see, as growing up watching these films, I went to the cinema to see the film and I was hyped. I wasn't disappointed at all as a kid. I was seeing Venom on the screen. That's all I cared about. It was Venom.
I remember seeing that first.
I was probably in my 20s.
That first scene where you see Venom and it's Sandman's running along, isn't he? And then he's swinging, and Sandman stops him, and then you see the black suit and it's talking in the mouth, and I was just like, that's Venom. Like, we've got Venom in a Marvel film, like in a Spider-Man film. This is like, I have lived. Like, I've seen this, and I enjoyed him at the time, and I went back and I watched it literally last week, and I still loved it. I still loved it. Spider-Man 2 wasn't on there, and I didn't want to go and get the Blu-rays out, so I didn't watch that. But yeah, Spider-Man 3, I was like, you know what? It was definitely the weaker of the three, but as a film, I didn't mind it.
Spider-Man 2 is on Disney Plus.
Is it? Oh, I haven't
split them. I don't know why. Spider-Man 3 is the only one left, I think, now that's on Netflix. The rest are now back on Disney Plus randomly.
Depends how long they bought the syndication rights for.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm gonna have to have a look then. I'll be watching that tomorrow. But yeah,
Cool.
no, I don't know. But it is funny. It isn't funny, isn't it? How we're going back and looking at these films from like 20 years ago, and it's still relevant. Like, it's still making sense and linking into films that we're watching now. But it is what the comic books did. Like you rightfully just said, that is exactly how the comic books worked. Do you remember them little boxes, or they still do it? But the boxes where it's like, see issue 575 of a completely different comic. And I'm just thinking, at the time, I'd be like, I have no idea how I'd get hold of this comic. Where I don't even know who to ask.
That would be a really clever special feature on the Blu-rays. If
that
when
would
you
be,
watched it came up in the comic little box at the bottom. Marvel, you're obviously watching this because why wouldn't you be? It'd be a really cool feature just on the Blu-ray, special feature that it comes up in the film as seen or as referenced in Iron Man 1 or as in so many films now.
To continue this story, make sure you watch Disney Plus's Hawkeye, that kind of stuff.
Subscribe now.
That would be cool. That would be cool. But yeah, I don't know. Lots of speculation. I really hope that not much more comes out. I think all the leaks and all the teasers, I think they've all been very cleverly marketed and planned. And I don't think we're going to see anything else massive between now and release date. It's so close.
What do you think? Anything else. What do you think of the idea of them introducing the inheritors?
Oh,
because obviously the next couple of films is like Black Panther, which he is one of the totems. Spider-Man is a totem. Lizard Man is a totem. Anything that is an animal with someone who has got animalistic superpowers is a totem. Morbius is a totem. And looking back at the comics, Morlan fights Morbius quite a lot because they're very similar. Morlan is a psi vampire who uses the energy of the totems to get his feed rather than plasma. So they do have a lot of confrontations in the comics together where Morlan and Morbius fight. I'm wondering whether the Spider-Verse might set that up as like a thing with the Morbius movie. It just seems weird that we're getting Morbius next after Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether that could be a thing they might set up now.
Yeah, that could definitely.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
That could definitely work. There is one thing that I think one day that I think we might see something, and that is the 29th, which they've branded Spider Monday. And that's when obviously the tickets go on sale. So I wonder whether we're going to see anything product wise or teaser wise, or I don't know.
I wonder if they'll do midnight showings.
Let's just hope that if Disney Star do anything nice, they give it to the UK this time, because Wookiee Life Day was so annoying. Did you see all the products that America got?
I did, yeah.
We got nothing.
I still really don't understand that in this day and age. Like,
Insane, isn't it?
It's such a stupid. Because the thing is, it's just stupid because they make less money because of it. You're only going to make more money if you release it to more people.
Yeah.
Like that whole they released a load of like replicas of Wookiee Life Day orbs and stuff that glow, and I would have loved to have got that out every Christmas behind me on my display and get the light, make a whole video every year about getting the Life Day orb out.
How am I going to celebrate my day of peace?
I'm geeky enough to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a shame that let's just hope that they give us more stuff for Spider-Man and I'll be happy.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So has anything else happened, or is Spider-Man just the pinnacle?
Spider-Man, I don't think
happened?
anything wanted to go up against it, did it? Really? Why would you?
No.
The Resident Evil trailer looked awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
That was a good. I did see that a couple of weeks
Resident
back, though.
Evil done right.
It dawned on me. It's the girl from Skins, isn't it? That's in that.
Yeah.
It took me ages to realize who it was. It's the girl from Skins. She's British, isn't she?
Yeah.
Doing a weird American accent.
They've cast a live-action Sabine Wren for Ahsoka. So basically,
Yes, they have.
That they
Where have I been hiding?
Yeah.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Yeah.
Who's playing her?
I can't remember the name of the girl. She's from.
I know this off the top of my head. No one needs to do anything.
I can't remember the name. I briefly looked at the thing and I was like, oh, okay, yep, I know who she is because of the show she's done.
So is this going to be for the Ahsoka TV series then?
Yes.
Yeah.
She looks all right.
Natasha Liu.
Yes, but what is she from?
Yeah, which is what I just said without Googling.
She's been in something that I'd seen.
TV and film.
Look at this.
I'm helping.
Geek Week in review, where the guys know their facts.
And they
Listen
just quickly
closely, you
Google
can
it.
hear the keys typing.
I literally don't have a computer, so I'm just there going,
Why is she
We'll redo this. Take two.
So she's obviously going to be in
She was in
Ahsoka.
something.
She's been in Guns Akimbo, The Society Hotel Mumbai, Detective Chinatown 2, The Greatest Showman, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's been in a lot of Chinese stuff like Gong Show Dao.
It might have been Greatest Showman that I recognised her from.
Yeah.
There was something that I
recognize her probably.
Yeah, there was something that I saw and I was just like, okay, yeah, no, I know who that is. It's so and so.
She was one of the main characters in Netflix's version of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, The Sword of Destiny. And
Cool.
She played Helena in Netflix's The Society.
Oh, cool.
So that's a good bit of casting. So that's good to know because
she does look good for that.
on that story.
I think she'll look
trying
spot
to
on.
find Ezra and Thrawn.
Yeah, that's where they're going with Ahsoka. And still nothing, obviously, still nothing in regards to Obi-Wan Kenobi trailers.
I like
further.
that. Though. I like that. Look, it worked for Spider-Man. It's going to work for everyone else. They've found a new pattern now. Don't talk about it until almost release day. Then give them the trailer. Let them speculate for a whole month. Then see the film.
I think
rather than releasing it too early.
I think the Obi-Wan. If I'm totally honest, I think that Obi-Wan Kenobi would do better without a trailer. Mm-hmm. If they're going to release anything, I would just like to see Obi-Wan Kenobi like in a speech, like a monologue or something, just something that doesn't. I don't want to see any action. I don't want to see any Darth Vader. I don't want to see any
the twin sun setting or something.
Just something, yeah. Just literally, just something that shows us something new, but doesn't give anything away. Like literally, just a monologue.
The balance of the Force is everywhere. Like two suns.
That's the thing. I hope Ewan McGregor stays true to his version of the character and doesn't try to go too. Try to do that voice. I hope he doesn't try to lend himself to be the aging Obi-Wan and do the voice, because that would just no.
Hello there.
No.
Hello there. I'm back. No, don't do that.
Yeah. No, I agree. But we'll see. We'll see. I hope that they don't show too much. I really don't. And I wonder where it's going to fall on the timeline of Rebels, whether this is going to be post Darth Maul, pre Darth Maul, like where is it going to?
Oh, there's so
also the exciting times of now that Ahsoka is more firmly in live action stuff. Obviously, she's still kicking about the galaxy with Rex and things. Do they have any bump in with them? That'd be awesome.
Can you imagine if Ahsoka debuts in The Mandalorian and then Obi-Wan before we even see her in her own show? That would be cool. That would be really cool.
But,
Just seeing
We've-
Obi-Wan
we've
Kenobi,
all-
and that would be incredible.
We've all said it. How cool would it be if if the kid that's going to play Ezra debuted in Obi-Wan and they recreate that whole scene from Rebels? Have Ezra, have him CGI to make him look a little bit younger with longer hair or whatever. Have him turn up with Chopper, a live action Chopper, which they have done before from Rogue One.
Yeah.
Do that whole Darth Maul turns up and he sends it on your way, Ezra. He sort of sends him on his way, and then they have the fight scene, which can be then expanded upon for live action.
I still don't think they'll do that though, because I think they'll be like, right, we've told that story.
Yeah, we can wish. We can
We'll
wish.
see. We can wish.
Or even
Wait,
just a nod to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
It would be
mind- I
cool to
reckon we'll
see
get
the
I
final-
reckon we'll get a mention of it.
It would be cool to see the final scene, and the thing is like him burying Darth Maul in the sand or something. That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
He's-
And like
they've-
just putting the lightsaber in the ground, you see the double blade or something just sticking out of the sand or something.
There's got to be
Okay.
some kind of recognition to it. It has to be. Yeah,
And-
there has to be something.
Will we hear a Force version of Qui-Gon? Because obviously there's the main story about the thing was at the end of episode 3, Yoda was telling Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon's found a way to communicate through the Force. He's found a way to live
I
on.
think that's going to be the big reveal bit
Yeah.
of it.
Mm.
Personally, I've always, or even a Force ghost of
And
Qui-Gon.
that's-
I still think that's a
Qui-Gon
possibility.
reaching out to Obi-Wan and teaching him how to become one with the Force, to go back to and come back to help, and you know what I mean? That kind of thing. That'd be awesome.
And he's all up for doing old Liam Neeson as well, isn't he? He's all up for doing the cameos. He did it in was it in Rebels or was it in Clone Wars? No, it's in Rebels, wasn't it?
Rebels,
he did
yeah.
one in Clone Wars, and then
And in Rebels.
He did
And,
he did a
no-
couple of voices for Rebels.
He did it in what do you call it? Rise of Skywalker as well.
Yes.
Oh, that were it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Clone Wars.
So,
and
yeah.
Rise of Skywalker.
that's it. Yeah, no, that'd be very cool. That'd be very cool as the big reveal. Cool. I think that's about it though for this week.
I think
I
we've
don't think
wrapped
it's
the Geek Week up in a nice little bow.
in a nice little Obi-Wan bow.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
We missed it though, didn't we? We should have wrapped it up with Hawkeye, so it could have wrapped it up with a bow, like officially, like they do in all their marketing. So cool.
fix it in
Well,
post.
listen. If of course you are still listening, and especially if you listen on podcast, then please do, as always, give us a like, share, subscribe, download. Podcast views are going up and up, which is great. We are in no way, shape, or form breaking any chart records or anything like that. But it is good to see that there are people actually tuning into the podcast. So that does, we do appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube still, then again, we appreciate you guys as well. Please do like, share, subscribe. Check out the links in the description below for all of the people that we've mentioned, as well as for SuperSorrell's channel, Ryan Speaks Geek channel, and of course my channel as well. But yeah, I think that's about everything, gents. I think until next week. That was a good one.
Bad time, same bad channel.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week. Until then, keep it geek.
The Geek Week in Review.